Happy November. Welcome to November's Wisdom. As you guys can see, oh Lord, I don't even know if I put the title back on there, but as you guys know, I had originally had posted the November Wisdom. I was going to do it yesterday, but I totally have gotten my days completely mixed. I didn't know that today was Sunday. So, or yesterday wasn't Sunday, it was Saturday. So, if you did see the title does have a whole bunch of fruit on it. Why does the title have a whole bunch of fruit on it? Yes, let's talk about it. So, as you guys know, we discussed it in the last podcast episode that you guys can see on YouTube and you can see it on Spotify. We talked about where we've been talking in the last couple of weeks, honestly and truthfully, that you have to let go of the narrative. Um, you being in the driver's seat is becoming a lot more important, okay? November is a very auspicious time, but it's also a time to where the emotions are very overstimulating. One of the things that I've noticed already in November is the fact of that people are not, they underestimate your ability to speak up for yourself. That's something that I'm noticing across the board, that more people will be stopped in their tracks of their pattern. Yeah, their pattern. That's the thing that they're gonna stop. They're gonna be stopped in the tracks of their pattern. Um, because for one, a lot of people have never met someone that's gonna awaken them the way that you will. Two, one thing I also realized that is that some people are, as long as they don't deem someone as threatening, or they don't deem them as more superior, or they don't see, like, as long as they don't have an actual physical being to project on, they would never, thank you, they would never have to go through corrective action. Okay. And one of the things that November gives me is the fact of that everybody needs a little bit of corrective action. And the consequences of their actions have to be met with assertiveness, um, respect, and boundaries. Three things. That's assertiveness, okay, respect, boundaries. That's how you're going to get people to understand that whatever pattern that they're doing is not going to work. Not around here. Not around here. Okay? Um Another thing I kind of picked up for November is that an extremely abundant month. And I think the abundance doesn't just come from a very superficial, generic saying of like, oh, bliss and butterflies and rainbow and glitter. I honestly think it comes from the fact that your mind has just released certain things and kind of just been like, oh, whatever. And the initial reaction to the releasing of the mental fog or the clouded judgment, if I could be honest with you, it's the first emotion that they were like, you're going to feel irresponsible. You're going to feel like there's going to be a lot of anxiety. But the anxiety, once again, anxiety, secure, anxious. Excuse me, avoidant. So while some people are going to be anxious and then suppress that and go straight into avoidance, other people are going to reassure and say everything's okay, everything's going to be okay. Now, I know a lot of people also touched on that October was a month of harvest, and I don't disagree, but I do feel like the harvesting wasn't necessarily a reflection of the outer material world. I feel like it was a harvest of a seed of a mindset. It was a mental thing more than anything. It also because was it also is because we were in Libra season, switching into Scorpio season, and Scorpio season. If we could just be honest, Scorpio season is always intense. It's always like this very like underlining, like, oh, eyes are on me at all times type of thing. And until you can address a spirit or, a ghost head on, you will always be fearful that there is one around. Okay. Now, y'all, I hope y'all understand what I'm saying by that. You ever been like freaked out about something, then you just start saying like, look, I don't have time today. Y'all go on with that damn witchy twitchy shit. I don't have time. That's kind of what Scorpio season gives me. Until you're ready to face what you're scared of and actually face the feeling, face the emotion, then you know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be redundant. Okay. Another thing that I had I peeped for November was the fact of that your generous spirit and opening up to certain things does more justice than you think. Okay. Um, the view of you is changing. The words that you are saying are having an effect in the world. They're having an effect in your surroundings, in your everyday life, the people that are around you, people that encounter you. The words, your verbiage, okay? The verbiage that's being sang in November, you're really opening a lot of eyes. Like people are like all of a sudden like it's like they hear you and like I was saying in the weekly update for this week I was like or no last week. Damn, the days is fucking passing me by. The weekly update I was saying about how like you got to get over keep saying that, oh, it's a coincidence, it's a coincidence, it's a coincidence. It's not a coincidence, okay? We don't have to keep going back and forth and saying these things are coincidences. They're not coincidences. I'm telling you right now, it's not a coincidence. Okay, it's not. And I think if more people start to get that in their, get that in their mindset, they start to really like actually believe that it's not a coincidence, then you will start to see the fruits of your awareness. Okay, because I'm telling y'all now, there's not a person you meet, there's not a thing that you do, there that something, anybody that you encounter, and I'm not talking about small talk. Okay, I'm not talking about, oh, hi, how are you? Or, da 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 da. Just little things, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about that. That you could be helping someone in a small way. I'm talking about those odd conversations with people. I had put in also, oh my God, that fucking update is coming up every second of the day. In the update, I also said that because the devil's ears are open, he wants to know what you're doing. He's very curious, and curiosity kills the cat. Curiosity killing the cat is basically saying that the devil is killing his own intuition of what he should be focusing on to focus on you. And so I was saying about how they're gonna speak in a lot of symbolisms, okay? And symbolisms and synchronicities also are included into individuals. So you are speaking to someone and you might not think nothing of it, but because you are authentically expressing yourself, okay? Assertive, respect, boundaries. These are the three things, corrective action that people need. This is how they're going to get corrective action. The words that you are speaking to people are healing them effortlessly. You are saying something to them that is opening up something in their mind. You are saying something that is speaking directly to a flaw, a trauma, a projection. You are speaking to something in them. And most people don't want to admit that because of the fact of they're like, oh, people always like to have this like weird thing about words, like, oh, well, wording. There's such thing as the words you use, and then there's a such thing as how you handle it. Okay? In this case, in the world, it's the words that you are using, the questions that you are asking people. You're gonna ask people questions and say things to them that they have never had happen. The normal reaction that they get from their pattern, the normal reaction that they get from their pattern, you are gonna do the unexpected. This month, people are gonna do the unexpected. It's like when you get in trouble or you do something like you break a vase or you do something and you like, I'm so scared to tell my mom that I broke this vase. You finally talk to her and she be like, oh, I hated that vase anyway. I hated that vase anyway. Your grandmother gave me that vase and I fucking hate it. Thanks. I am so happy. Thank you. Now I don't have to lie every time she comes over and be like, oh, I love this vase. Thank you. Thank you so much for the gift. Or I don't have to answer the question of where is the vase every time I try to hide it. You breaking it had to be the best thing you ever could have did. And what the funny thing about it is the fact of that when, oh shit, sorry. When you do it and then like your grandparents come over and they be like, oh, what happened to the vase? And your mom be like, oh, so and so broke it. And the grandma's like, well, what did you do? What did you say? I disciplined them. Oh, I disciplined them. I spoke to them. I told him he'll have to pay it back. He'll have to do chores until he can pay it back. I did. Yep, I talked to him. Whole time, your mama ain't said shit about no consequence. You ain't got in trouble. She ain't did nothing. She don't care. But that's y'all business. And see, that is exactly what's going on in the world right now in November that I'm seeing for the collective that we'll be experiencing. Because once again, I want every point on the board when I told you that everything is happening in the world is going to help you more than harm you. I'm going to repeat it again of what I said in the weekly update. There's not a financial issue that you're going through that you are not supposed to be learning a lesson from. A lot of y'all lessons isn't to become more strategic and find another way, another source of income. A lot of y'all's lesson is that you need to fucking relax. You need to learn how to count your blessings instead of start and let y'all instead of you worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow. You know that Bible verse where the Lord was like, "Don't worry about the troubles of tomorrow because tomorrow's a new day." The whole month of November is like that. The whole month of November is like that. The intensity of you basically looking your boogeyman, ghosts, your fears in the face and saying, not today. Like when people irritate me, the first thing I say is, not today. We're not finna do this today. Maybe tomorrow, but not today. I'm not finna deal with this today. Not today. You know? And so one of the things also we need to be aware of. So as we are talking about the things that that are positive, let's talk about some of the things we need to be aware of for November. One of the biggest things you need to be aware of for the month of November is the crumbling of patriarchy in people. Hold on one second. Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, patriarchy is a social system where men hold primary power and authority with men controlling a disproportionate amount of social and economic political power. Now, this is about men, but this is also about individuals. So I'm going to read it this way. A social system where individuals hold primary power and authority with certain individuals controlling a disproportionate amount of social and economic political power. This isn't people. In their life, they are the most powerful thing. And they surround themselves with weak individuals. So if someone is the most powerful thing in their household and everyone else is basically fearful of them or they're very cautious of them, what do you think happens when another powerful person meets another powerful person and they're not comfortable in their power? Once again, this confirms why I say that America is the weakest link because of the fact of all the power that we have is stolen. Everybody that's in the political parties, their power is stolen. There's no need to lie. There's no need to act like these things are not what we see every day. If someone is the most powerful person in their household and they are not comfortable in that power, and the only reason why they feel comfort in that power is based off of the other weak individuals that hold them up, once they get into a room with another powerful person, you will see them shrink. You will see them shrink because now their biggest insecurity is on display for the whole world to see. Yeah. Where someone takes a situation and they try to devalue, belittle you as an individual, what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to be met with the match of the truth, authentic version of it to match their false version of it. Okay? Why do you need to be aware of this? Have you ever heard of a counterfeit? Okay, counterfeit money, a counterfeit person. And I don't want to say karmic because we're always in karmic cycles. Everything can be a part of a karmic cycle. But have you ever heard of a counterfeit? November has a big counterfeit energy to it. Okay. What do I mean by that? November has a counterfeit energy because of the fact that counterfeit money looks like it's amazing until it meets real money. Um, a counterfeit item only looks good until the real thing is present. And because most people make counterfeit things very shiny, very glittery, very like beautiful to the eye, that people second guess and they kind of hesitate on the real thing because it's like, well, it's not as glamorous, glitz and glamour like the counterfeit is. The reason why they make a counterfeit so glitz and glamour because of the fact that it's not real. It's not real. Let me say it again. The reason why they make counterfeit items so glitz and glamour because they are not real. So if they make counterfeit items very glitz and glamour to appeal to the eye of an individual that cannot seek true vintage or cannot seek true style or cannot seek true value in the real thing, why do you think that they promote so much, so much counterfeit stuff? November, there's a lot, though. It's crazy because the awareness that you need to have in November of understanding that you will be met with a lot of counterfeit things is the fact of that you got to understand a counterfeit only is intimidated and feels threatened and pressed and feels some type of way when the real thing is in the building. You ever seen someone with a fake ass bag? Until they get in a room and they see somebody with a real ass bag, all of a sudden they moving their bag to the side because they don't want to somebody to see the correlation. The word for November is correlation. Okay? You see how there's two of everything that's happening? Let's read it. Un momento. Un momento. The definition of correlation is a statistical measure that describes to an extent to which two variables move in relation to each other. That's something I need everybody to open their ears, eyes, mouths, and hearts to. The correlation between things. We have been talking about this for the last month about how people are connected, how lessons are within people. So when people are, you don't care about what? I don't know who that is. But the correlation between things and people is crazy. And one of the things that I've noticed, and I think I noticed this more than anything, is the fact of that more people are going to be, how can I explain it? I think more people are just going to be more shocked once they realize that something isn't real. That's like the biggest thing I can say. When people, it's like they'll say things like, oh, I've never known them to act like that, or I've never known them to do stuff like that. Like they don't know that side of them. Because if I could be honest, and I'm saying this with love, because you don't threaten them. There's nothing about you that threatens them. That's why when you say things like, oh, I don't know that version of them, because there's nothing about you that threatens them. You're not threatening. And this is not to say, there's something wrong with you. You're just not threatening to them. When women date men, and the women have conversations and one woman is saying about how the man does X, Y, and Z, and then another woman's looking all crazy and she's like, damn, he's never done that for me. Because you aren't a threat to him. You aren't a threat to making him vulnerable. You aren't a threat to making him grow up. He doesn't see you as a threat. You're not see when people see you as a threat, you will be able to correlate the things in between the counterfeit energy and the real one. You're not a threat. If you are not a threat to revealing someone's counterfeit energy, personality, persona, power, mindset, if you're not a threat, you would never see it. And this is not to say that you need to be on the scope and on head on swivel, trying to figure out if I'm a threat to certain things. It's you will know based off of how the situation goes. There are some things I don't care to be a threat to because, bitch, I would never be over there anyway. It's like that post on TikTok when they were like, why would I, there was like, you shouldn't judge. That could be you one day. Why would I buy a man a car and put it in his name like, why would I do that? Like, I would never do that. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you're saying some things that I would never do. But because November has this energy of counterfeit, you guys need to understand that you are a threat to certain things. And because you are a threat, I think one of the biggest things to understand that when you're in this energy of meeting a counterfeit or dealing with someone that's used to being around counterfeits, you're going to have to play it smart because it will literally make you fly off the fucking wall. Because what is like, how are you living? I think that's probably one of the number one questions that I've been wanting to ask people these days. Like, how have you made it to this age? How are you still living? And you haven't like mentally jumped off a cliff. How are you still living? I think the craziest thing about November is the fact that you guys are gonna realize that age is nothing but a number. You're gonna want to be more quiet than you want to talk because you're gonna hear things and be like, age is nothing but a number. The mindsets that we are seeing, that you will see in November, and it's because November being a very auspicious time, everybody's spiritual and their intellectual minds, they now want to be very expressive. One thing that I've noticed about a lot of Scorpios is the fact of that they are subconsciously speaking out of their hidden mentality and personality. Their actions that they hide so often are now being presented to you. You know what I mean? I'm noticing that. I'm really noticing that about Scorpios. Like, if whatever they're hiding, it's coming out. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing that I have ever encountered. Scorpio season, I said I have never in my life seen shit like this. Because Scorpios are really big about hiding things, leaving things under the surface, is because it's the Pluto energy. And what I'm noticing is that they are subconsciously allowing it to spill all out. Everything that is underneath is just coming out. And one thing that I'm saying about when I'm seeing this happen is the fact that instead of me looking at it like I just got something so valuable out of them, it's making me be able to treat a person accordingly. Because if you could subconsciously spill out all of that is hidden, there is no telling what else you would cover up. There's no telling what else you would cover up. You see what I'm saying? And that to me is scary. November is scary. November is scary. Okay? Because one of the things that I'm noticing is the fact of that the world right now is they're going to do one or two things. When the outside world is able to help with the inside world, the issue is that most people will A, take advantage of it and not use it as a stepping stone, or B, they're going to get very far ahead that they're just, and that's really what I need everybody to do. When the outside resources, when the outside things come to you, I need you to use it as a stepping stone. I don't need you to neglect, and I don't need you to, escape the reality. I don't need you to ignore. And, it literally makes me think of COVID. It literally makes me think of COVID. If you remember what happened with COVID, people got them PPP loans. They had got all that unemployment. They didn't have shit to show for it. We're going to have another season like that coming up. Okay? They can't shut the world down because of COVID anymore. They can't shut the world down for a sickness. They just can't. They just can't. They can't shut the world down for a sickness anymore. We'd all peep. So now the way that the world is crashing down is the fact that the power struggle is now going to become the war. And because the power struggle is now going to become the war, you have to understand that we are going to reap the benefits off of the backs of their egotistical ways. And I know you guys, y'all want me. I'm not saying y'all want me to, but I know a lot of people want us to bring a lot of awareness, and they want us to speak on, how people aren't getting paid, and how people, they don't have this, they don't have that, they don't have money for this, they don't have money for that. Because we are trying to get you guys to understand that, A, the communities that you're in and you invest in are shit. Your support system is shit. And you sit here and you try to tell me, oh, well, what am I going to do? Allow a community to find you, right? And B, a lot of you guys would rather be oblivious to the lessons that the financial hardship is showing you. Most people are only in a financial hardship because of their mindset. I promise you, if we sat down and interviewed 100 people that are going through financial hardships from the government shutdown, I bet you off rip they could tell me 3 things that they want to do and that they inspire to do that they talked about at that job every fucking day. Every day. I bet you they can. But because they don't see the vision as being something of value, they don't see the vision as something that can equate them to the same amount of money that they, you know what I'm saying, that they could get from their job. That's why it's not realistic. You know, that word keeps coming around a lot. Realistic, 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 realistic. And I feel like when you think of something being realistic, you think of it being a um a logical response of a reality. Or not response, excuse me, a logical meaning of a reality. When somebody says be realistic or let's be realistic, you are trying to basically say you're trying to find the logical thought of a reality. And most people need to just accept that the logic behind their reality is something of a scarce mindset. And it's something from a trauma. And it's something from a fear. And it's something from the past. It has nothing to do with the current situation and the future. November has all this power into it. November is a month where, if I could be honest, it's just a very like one way in, one way out type of thing that has a very powerful shifting of the mind. And it's not hard. I just think you guys, when y'all visualize you shifting your mind, you visualize that you'll be Bill Gates and Steve Jobs by tomorrow. And not saying that that can't happen, but that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Because of the fact of how are you going to change your mindset off of the hope and faith that your outcome looks like another individual's? That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. You can't shift your mindset based off of the results that you see another individual getting. If I found out that someone that I was dealing with didn't have cash, but they had billions of dollars of gold, that to me would mean more than someone that has $1 billion in cash. If I found out somebody, and you tell somebody, be like, well, what the fuck, gold? No, you would want somebody that has all the cash. Do you not know the value of gold? The value of gold is worth way more than $1 billion in cash. Do you know the things that gold can create? It's worth more than $1 billion in cash. That's the type of example that I'm trying to get you guys to understand for November. Those are the counterfeit. Counterfeit. Someone with $1 billion would feel like they are more valuable than someone that has over billions of gold. That's counterfeit. It's literally like when somebody rich meets someone wealthy. It's crazy. It's like when somebody that's in power meets someone that's really in power. Like I does this. I know ball. Counterfeit energy for November is at the top of the list. Okay. All right, we're like 28 minutes in. Let's get into the astrological events. That will also be helping us. So we have to understand that Mercury retrograde is in Sagittarius. A lot of people are talking about this and they're talking about it wrong. Now, I'm not one to sit here and try to, speak on everybody and speak on their mindset, but what I've been hearing about Mercury retrograde is wrong. Because Mercury retrograde is in Sagittarius, Sagittarius is Jupiter. Our focus this month, Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet. One moment. The meaning of Jupiter represents expansion, luck, abundance, wisdom, and optimism. It is often called the great benefit. Hello? It is or the planet of good fortune, excuse me. Its placement in a birth chart indicates areas of personal growth, higher learning, and spiritual development, influencing how individuals seek knowledge, find opportunities, and express generosity and more morality. Now, I want to speak on this generosity thing because I keep telling y'all that the energy is very generous. And because you are putting your energy out there to be generous, you have to understand that that is doing something more than you think. It changes the trajectory, it changes the dynamic, it changes how people see you. That's what you want to focus on. You want to focus on your energy being so pure, so lightheartedness, so open, so expressive, so beautiful that people are literally changing their thoughts about you. And even if they didn't have negative thoughts, you now enhance the loving thoughts that they have about you. You ever has somebody ever told y'all that when you speak to someone's heart, their eyes glow? Have you ever seen that? I don't know if anybody's ever seen that, but literally, when you speak to someone's heart, their eyes glow. So you don't even, I'm telling y'all, y'all don't realize that the words that you have said are changing and healing things for you and for people. Okay. So one of the things that it says is, Jupiter's influence is expansive, encouraging you to think big and pursue goals that bring joy, growth and expansion, luck and fortune, wisdom and knowledge, spirituality and morality, generosity and abundance. Okay. So one of the things it kind of says, like as like an astrological note, is that as Jupiter moves through the zodiac, its transits can bring periods of good luck, growth, and new chances to areas of life it is passing through. So from an astrological point, if we're looking at Jupiter, it was so funny because I was talking to my friend and I was, yeah, Jupiter. And as soon as I said that, I look up and there's this TV and it was for NASA, and the planet that was showing me was Jupiter. So I'm here to make sure you understand that where you have Jupiter in your chart and what you have in your ninth house are extremely important during these times. Those are the things that you will literally see so much influence in. You will see so much influence in it wherever you have Jupiter in your chart. And I don't even mean just what you have in your natal chart of Jupiter. So like you have Jupiter in Taurus, whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm saying where you have Jupiter, the fact that you have Jupiter in Taurus, expansion. Wherever you have Taurus in your chart, expansion, because you have Jupiter in Taurus. Whatever you have in your ninth house, and then wherever you have in Sagittarius or Pisces. Those are 5 astrological components to truly pay attention to during this time. Another reason why I said that is because Saturn will be going direct in Pisces at the end of the month. Because Pisces, I know it rules Neptune, but it also rules Jupiter. Because Pisces is in Saturn, because Saturn was in Pisces and it's going direct, the relief that society will feel is that you will feel a lot more spiritual relief. Your spirit will be very freeing. And if the world is based off energy, that means that your energy is freeing and unlocking a lot of things. One of the things that people like to underestimate about the Pisces energy of Jupiter is the fact that their spirit is being expanded based off of what they have to inherit and what they have to deal with. And I think one thing people kind of forget and neglect is that every part of your life, every reality, every environment, every milestone, every year, whatever you want to say, every, time shift, whatever you go through is based off of a spiritual capacity you're now able to succeed in. You're not able to fill up. You don't go into certain jobs because of your physical. You go because your spirit goes there. Your spirit has enough capacity to deal with it. You don't get promoted without having a spiritual capacity being elevated. You don't get into a relationship. You don't get into frenemieships. You don't get into anything that your spirit cannot handle. The old saying that everybody knows is that the Lord wouldn't give me anything that I couldn't handle. You don't get into anything that you can't handle without the spiritual capacity. Okay? You don't go from making $10,000 to $100,000 if your spirit didn't have the capacity. That's why a lot of people need to understand that where you are now, even though you have the feeling of, okay, I know I'm going to be a millionaire, right? The goal isn't to figure out the ways to make you a millionaire. The goal isn't to find out the ways that you could be married. The goal isn't to find out the ways how you can become an entrepreneur. The goal isn't to find out how you can execute the plan. The goal is to allow yourself to learn the lessons or to gain the acceptance of your spirit being expanded. And honestly, the last time that Saturn went into Pisces and then it went into retrograde, that's all it did for everybody. Because everybody's always talking about, and this is kind of like, I mean, no, I'm not even gonna say that. I don't need to speak on that. But one thing that I had noticed when I had first like started learning about astrology, and it didn't make sense to me why everybody was saying that you want to be blessed by Jupiter. And I thought that was crazy, because why would you want to be blessed by a planet that continues to expand? So example, let's say you have Jupiter in the seventh house. That's relationships. That means that every relationship that you get in, it's not just, oh, you're expanding, from a friendship to a boyfriend, girlfriend, to fiance, to marriage. No, the expansion has nothing to do with the title. The expansion has to do with what you learn in the relationship. So when people have like Jupiter in their second house, I'm always confused of why they're so like happy and joyful. Like, oh, you what do you mean? They're going to give you that job as entry level because you're going to expand in the company completely. You have to learn things at entry level that's going to take you to being a director at another company. So being blessed by Jupiter, if I could just be honest with you, causes way more anxiety than people think, because of the fact that it's not just one and done. You don't go from single to married and just be like, oh, well, now we're married now. No, there's wisdom that has to be learned through that marriage. There's insight. There's emotional intelligence. Y'all have to understand that also, that the ninth house is ruled by, I think, spiritual knowledge. Or is it just regular knowledge? Hold on. I want to make sure I'm speaking accurately. Ninth house, yeah, it's the house of philosophy and higher learning and travel. Thank you. It governs a person's belief systems, worldview, and spiritual and ethnical principles, and their search for meaning beyond the mundane. Thank you. So at what point did you ever think that you were just going to get into something that Jupiter gave you and it's just going to be, oh, well, this is great? No, you want to be blessed by Saturn, because Saturn basically has structured every lesson, everything around you, so that you have enough spiritual capacity to deal with this forever. How long? Because it sees longevity. So if you decide that you're going to go from one career to the next, basically Saturn rewards you with the new career, but this career is something of longevity. Jupiter put you into one career so you can learn a whole bunch of things, and then Saturn decides to say, okay, well, you have enough spiritual capacity, let's go ahead and bless you with this career right now. You take all the things you learn from that career, you go into this career, and the fact that this career is something you do for the next 40 years. You have to understand, being blessed by Saturn is that's the best thing ever, because Saturn rewards aren't just given because you want it, it's given because you earned it. That's it. The currency of paying back Saturn is consistency. That's why when people try to fear monger Saturn returns, I just have to laugh. Saturn returns aren't bad. You just don't listen. You don't listen. People love to be like, oh my God, the Saturn return killed me. It took me out. And then they tell me all the things that they did or that they were doing. I just be like, well, bitch, you was not listening, it seems like. Because why did you have to go through a car accident, which is a wake-up sign, go through a car accident, have to get a divorce from someone you knew you shouldn't have married, got fired from the job that you knew you didn't want? Why do you have to do all that if these are the things that you weren't listening to? That's so crazy to me. That's so crazy to me. That's why when everybody's like, get on Mariah Sciences, I posted on TikTok and I was like, y'all need to leave Mariah Sciences alone. She just turned 28. That Saturn return gonna come tear her ass up. Okay? Because, baby, she's not listening. And regardless of what she knows about, regardless of how she feels about Jeffrey in her personal life, I think one of the things that Mariah has to understand is that he not saying this shit for no clout, you know? That's one thing about Leos that I want everybody to understand during this transit of Pluto being in Aquarius. There's not a Leo placement or an Aquarius placement that's doing anything for clout. That's them. That's them. And see, when I was saying earlier about how like a lot of Scorpios are letting a lot of unhidden things come to the surface, we're seeing it. That she's a prime example of it. On her birthday, she's singing his song. Woo-de-doo. 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 So, I think we just need to, just accept it. That's them, And so as we go through November, a lot of the things, one of the things that we need to remove, okay, one of the things that we need to remove from our, subconscious. I mean, just gonna be honest with you. You guys are gonna have to remove how you view your 3D. Okay. You're gonna have to kind of like take your glasses off, and you're not going to be able to pay attention to your 3D. Your 3D reality is not real in the month of November, if I could be so honest with you. And y'all know I don't need to play that whole, who game. The reality in November isn't real. It's not. It's a huge illusion. I hate that because I've never seen more of an illusion than I have seen in November. November has the biggest illusion. Like, is this play about us? It's odd. It's weird. It's not real. And this comes from the counterfeit energy. I told you, counterfeits are only bothered when the real thing comes. So if a counterfeit has been living their life in counterfeit energy, counterfeit, power, counterfeit, whatever personality, whatever like that, then you have to understand that their reality is not real. Because as soon as they see the real thing, they get that really like, oh shit, newsflash. Yeah, newsflash. The fuck. So, pay attention. Like, pay attention to that shit. Like, the reality of November is not real. You gotta figure, when I say it's not real, meaning like a lot of the circumstances are kind of beyond you, and a lot of the circumstances are kind of like outside of your control. The only thing that you can control is your spirit and how you feel. If something doesn't feel right, then you already know this is a part of an illusion. If something is testing your heart space to open up more, that's how you really will know what's true and what's not. Because the reality that the what you can see with your real eyes is not real, that means that you have to open up your heart more to trust. And so November is, oh, I'm about to say, what is that? Hold on. What'd that do? Okay, we good. Because November is because November's like reality with your eyes is not real, that means you have to follow it with your heart. So whatever tests your heart to open up is real. Good or bad. All right, let's go through the astrology facts. I hope the way that I recorded this, it goes well on the podcast. What do you do? Who do you do? Okay. For the month of November, all right, let's get down to it. Now, y'all know we talk about the astrological events every week on the podcast, but I want to talk about everything that is major, okay? So on the 4th, we have Mars entering Sagittarius. Get ready for a spiritual journey in the coming weeks as the warrior planet moves into the sign of the Archer. Harness this energy to concentrate to concentrate on your desires and take inspired action. It's an ideal time for adventures and risk taking, with optimism and independence leading the way. Heart, mind. Okay. Also on the 5th, the full moon in Taurus. As we near 2026, it's a great time to evaluate our investments and how they flourish under this practical full moon. When the full moon comes around, and I don't want to go into depth about the moon and the astrological and the meaning fully, because I know I'm going to talk about it in this week's weekly update, but a lot of the things that I spoke about in this November energy is a reflection of the full moon, like how the full moon is assisting and it's also revealing. And yeah, so As we near 2026 is a great time to evaluate our investments and how they flourish under this practical full moon. Celebrate your personal harvest and begin planning for the year ahead. Right? Okay. Also, Venus enters Scorpio. With just a few weeks left in the year, we're facing darker days and longer nights. As the planet of love moves into mysterious Scorpio, our relationships can deepen in intimacy as we seek comfort in one another. Embrace your softer side and let yourself open up to love. Okay. Uranus retrogrades in Taurus. Oof, I love this one, but I know it's going to be a doozy for people because the full moon is going to bring the full moon brings like a what do they call that, a ghost investor, silent investor, excuse me. So the full moon energy brings a silent investor because Venus is the baddest. Okay, so Venus is a silent investor. The full moon is going to bring a silent investor. Now what they silently invest in, I don't know, that's up to you in your life and how you see fit. They can invest in how you take care of yourself more, how you become a better mother, a better father, how you have a better relationship with your parents, your grandparents, and family dynamics in your relationship, your money, whatever Taurus rules in your house, in your chart. Also, regardless of that, whatever you have Venus in. So just be aware that you will be silently invested in by spirit guides and also people in the form of the spirit. Because I literally had posted on TikTok, I said, first of all, can we talk about how God is really using people to say certain things, to confirm certain things, and he's doing it so slick. Like this, I told him on TikTok, I said, this man randomly came up to me. We're having a conversation, just a normal conversation. And he asked me, he said, why aren't you at da 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 da? Why would you ask me that? And it wasn't like he was being rude, but it was like, how do you know that? Like, why would you, first of all, why would you say it like that? And two, how do you know that? How the fuck do you know that? And then it was like I was nothing but surrounded by the energy. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. Hold on. So just pay attention to that. Also, yes. So Uranus retrograde in Taurus. This retrograde remix gives us one final chance to release toxic energy and begin anew for the upcoming year. It's a perfect moment to chase your desire while staying mindful of deception, counterfeit. On the 8th, new moon in Scorpio, after a chaotic period of retrogrades, this new moon is a signals of rebirth as we share our past and embrace transformation and change. Do some soul searching to change your life for the better. Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. Even though Mercury won't be in Sagittarius for the whole retrograde, it's not the best time to for travel plans over the next few weeks, which is why you guys are going to see more shutdowns with airplanes, and people are going to have to find better ways to get somewhere. Which also, if I could be honest with you, the reason why they are having so many issues when it comes to planes is because planes are a form of time travel, quantum leaping of the mind. Okay, you don't have to believe me, but it's the truth. You know, your mind changes when you get on a plane. So the reason why they're trying to stop all this is because they do not want people to get into better mindsets. And Sagittarius is Jupiter. The best way that they to get people from being able to expand and learn more in the position that they are in, they're going to stop time travel. They think it's going to work. It's not. One thing about it, two things for sure. You might can't time travel off the mind, but you can mind travel. I mean, you can time travel and quantum leap off of the element of earth. You can go by water. You see what I'm saying? So, I think a lot of what's going on right now is kind of very simple-minded behavior. I told you it's very egotistical war. One thing about Sagittarius think they know every fucking thing. So, the energy just, it definitely gives that. It gives like, okay, well, you do know that there's more ways around shit. You do know that. And I think that's something that we will see over the next, like, I'd say about month, because by the time the holidays come, like the thick of the holidays, they can't benefit off that. They can't they can't benefit off that. So I do see there being some type of flexibility, but one thing I also see is the fact that if you're meant to travel, you will. So never think that you're being stopped. If you're meant to go somewhere by air to quantum leap your mental, you will. Ain't no stopping that. Simple. Okay? I think that's so funny about the world right now. Jupiter retrogrades in Cancer. Love this energy. The planet of luck is in a cosmic detour in the sensitive waters of Cancer, creating tensions around our roots as we seek answers about who we truly are. This is an excellent opportunity to gain insights from relative wisdom from ancestors to help you guide you on your journey. Thank you. Also, on the 15th, Vista in Capricorn. Vista enters Capricorn. It's a time to build a life that we can be proud of. This transit will instill a sense of responsibility and structure, motivating us to tackle challenges and achieve our goals with style. Planets affect the outer world. Asteroids may want you to pay attention to certain things. I think Vista is the asteroid of Venus. Okay? Also, Mercury will go back into retrograde in Scorpio. This retrograde is intense and secretive, making it difficult to see the truth. It's hard to tell fact from fiction. We might need to set aside what we think we know and read between the lines. Because what? November's reality is fake. You have to open your heart. Thank you. The new moon will be in Scorpio. What I think is crazy is the fact of that everything is a reflection. There's a full moon in Cancer. Uranus is in Taurus. It's going to go into something. The season is in Scorpio. There's a new moon in Scorpio. Venus, no, excuse me. Yeah, Venus is in Scorpio. There's so many correlations. Thank you, people. As we approach the new year, this new moon offers a chance for rebirth, allowing us to release the old and embrace our highest calling. Take a moment to look inward and honor your past self. So Sirius Cyrus goes direct in Aries. After months of inner conflict, it's time to stop fighting ourselves. Excuse me. It's time to stop fighting ourselves and start embracing change. Use this energy to stand up for yourself and others, launch new projects, and establish your goals for 2025. Assertiveness, respect, boundaries. That's how people get their corrective action. Simple. The sun enters Sagittarius on the 21st. Saturn goes direct on the 27th, which I think is Thanksgiving. I don't know. But here we go. As the year comes to a close, keep your feet planted firmly on the ground and focus on what's real and within your control. Set emotional boundaries and you'll navigate this time just fine. Thank you. Thank you. I love this because Saturn going direct is everybody's biggest gift. Like, hello? You have the spiritual capacity to be able to handle the environments and things that you're in. So therefore, relax. November is a month that is a fucking lie. You really want me to believe that the Lord put you in a better position just for him to be like, yeah, so we gonna put you in this position and you're gonna fail. No. Personality is dead. Let me tell y'all that personality is dead. November, y'all will realize that personality is dead. And because personality is dead, most people's personal vendettas against people are because of their personality. Okay? So when people equate personality to being intimidated, a threat, a problem, you have to understand that wisdom is in the room with us because common sense is not. Let me tell y'all that right now. Common sense is not in the room with us. In the next upcoming 5 months, you guys will see over the course of 5 months how easily common sense has slipped out of every fucking door, exit that it can. We're not all breathing the same oxygen of common sense. Common sense is not in the room with us. So this whole month of it being an illusion is because common sense is making its exit. When they say common sense isn't common sense says I'm getting the fuck out of here because even if I was on top of your head, in your eyes, you still would miss me. So a lot of people's entitlement to common sense, a lot of people's ungratefulness towards common sense is the reason why common sense has now received boundaries. Common sense, if common sense was a person, it just became a person of 110% self-love. You know who you will find the most common sense from is someone that is in an energy of self-love, someone that respects themselves, someone that loves themselves, someone that sticks up for themselves, someone that advocates things for themselves, people that are goal-oriented. Common sense is only a reflection of someone that is in an energy of self-love. And don't mishear me. And don't mishear me. So when you are in places and people are displaying a lack of common sense, you just got your answer right there. You just got your answer right there. So don't sit there and try to get, I'm working on this myself. So I'm saying this so I also can hear myself. I don't need to no longer get frustrated because I just literally just got the answer to why common sense is not in the room with us anymore. I figured it out. Okay? So pay attention. All right. Okay. Mercury goes direct into Scorpio. That's on the 29th. As weeks of confusion, clarity returns as Mercury moves forward again. This is a perfect time to check in with your emotions, work on rebuilding our bonds that may have been strained. I do feel like a lot of people need to come back and they need to basically like clarify some things. And I mean, I get it, we're all going through shit in life, but if I could just be honest with you, anybody that wants to come back to clarify, things, I'm going to be so honest with you. How people treat you when they're going through transition through seasons is everything you need to know. If someone is distant but they're still, every now and then they might, whatever, but how people treat you during different seasons, and also how people treat you in your time of different seasons, is something you need to pay attention to. So when people want to come back and they want to have to apologize for everything that happened in that Sagittarius opportunist energy, or in that illumination of all the hidden things, you need to just, respect it. But I wouldn't fuck with them no more. I wouldn't fuck with them anymore. I would definitely hold big boundaries. And then on the 30th, Venus enters Sagittarius. Relationships will come adventurous in the coming weeks as we wrap up 2025. It's a great time to seek better halves, and even if it means taking the less traveled road, focus on nurturing spiritual connections while balancing independence and commitment. Sagittarius placements, if I could be so honest with you, I think I talked about this a couple years ago. But one of the things I want everybody to kind of realize is that, or just accept, Sagittarius have commitment issues. The reason why they have commitment issues, and Pisces, Sagittarius and Pisces have Pisces placements, not just suns, just their placements. Wherever you have those placements in your chart, you have commitment issues. And I think what's happening for those placements right now, if I could be honest with you, they are finally being in situations, whether this is work, this is their health, this is their routines, this is relationships, whatever it is, they are finally realizing what they're basically seeing is the awareness has now been clear that, hold on, let me make sure I word this right. These placements are finally realizing that they have commitment issues because of the fact of that they are now showing their issue with them. Sagittarius and Pisces can't really learn from shit from other people. So if someone else is displaying commitment issues to them, they see it, but they don't see it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they're in Jupiter energy. They just continue to keep going and keep going and keep going. If one don't work, get another one, bitch, And so that's why when they are in situations to where other people are displaying their commitment issues, they don't see it. And there is this like there's a little bit of an emptiness in their heart because they feel like there's an issue, but they can't put their finger on the actual issue of why the commitment issue is there. So they feel a void that they need to fill. I mean, they feel they feel it. Like, I can't explain it, but like they feel it. Sagittarius and Pisces placements, they could deal with 110 people, okay? And whether, because if they're dealing with people with commitment issues, they also have commitment issues, okay? So what they are not understanding is the fact of that when they are dealing with people that are displaying those things to them, they feel it, but they can't heal, build. I don't know how to explain it, but they just can't. I'm gonna just use the word can't. They can't find the deeper meaning behind it. Okay. And since they can't find the wisdom in it, that means that they just don't, whatever. Now, what's happening to those placements is the fact of that they are the ones that are now aware of their commitment issues. Like they're now seeing their actions. If somebody's doing that to they 9 times out of 10 they really don't. They care, but they don't. Like they'll just get over it. But when a Sagittarius and a Pisces placement like has the awareness and they see it in themselves, that's when there's a problem. That's when they want to fix it. And I honestly think it's because whoever they're dealing with who had commitment issues wants commitment. Most of the time, Sagittarius placements and Pisces placements, if I could be so honest with you, they fall into shit with people. They don't never actually have some type of like actual agreement that they're together. They fall into shit. So when they fall into shit, that's why they don't be seeing shit like, oh, it was, like, yeah, we broke up, but we wasn't really together. Because it was never something that they actually spoke on. Like, it wasn't actual words to say, we are together. They might have, they might have got married. They might have had a baby. They might end up, going into business together. But there was never an actual direct word of a title. Never. Never. Like if you ever ask a Sagittarius placement, a Pisces placement about a lot of their connections before they actually decided to start being a more committed adult or committing person to anything in their life, they'll say, oh, I don't really know how it happened. Like they can't really tell you how they got into the relationship or how, like it'll be some shit like, oh, well, we met each other and then we just started seeing each other every day. And then we just decided to move in together. Shit like that. I was like, well, how'd y'all get into business together? Oh, well, we was coming to work every day with each other. We was scamming together. So shit, we just decided, let's get a business together. It's shit like that. It's never like an actual like discussion. They fall into this shit. And I'm gonna be so honest with you, because Sagittarius had to become more spiritual and Pisces had to become more in the field, their biggest thing was having to identify, how did I fall into this? A lot of them, that's not the. And when they start identifying how they fell into shit, a lot of them have to reminisce on the people that they wanted to fall into shit, but they couldn't because they own issues. I just see a lot of Sagittarius and Pisces people wanting more stability. They do. Cause I always say I don't think like women that have Sagittarius placements, sometimes I don't think they realize how they aren't really good parents sometimes, because it's not that they're bad moms like that. I don't think they realize how like bad of a parent they can be, because they're constantly thinking of expansion, expanding the wisdom, expanding the emotions, expanding the money. They're constantly in that moving action of like growth, that they don't see like that's more hindering than it is, helpful. So November has a month of fruit in it. I love it. I love a sweet fruit, but y'all know what they say. Too much fruit is actually a lot of sugar. So just keep that in mind, okay? I love y'all. I'm going to figure out how to put this on my podcast, but